If you're curious about Spokane's Moran Prairie neighborhood on the South Hill, then this video is for you. Here's everything you need to know before making the move into this neighborhood or deciding if it's right for you. Hey there, I'm Haydn Halsted, your real estate resource here in the Spokane area, making videos just like this, helping you decide if Spokane is the right place for you, helping people buy, sell, and invest in real estate in the Spokane area. We're gonna go over things like the housing market in the Moran Prairie area, school, shopping, the types of housing, all that kind of stuff. So make sure to please like this video and subscribe if you like content like this, and we will do more of it in the future. All right, so first up, we're going to talk about the location of Moran Prairie. So it is located on the South Hill, and if as a Spokaneite, somebody that lives here, we would refer to it as the upper South Hill. It's upper, it's further up the hill, it's as far back as you can go. I'll give you a full view here. But if you're looking at I-90 is the horizontal line here, the main freeway that goes through Spokane. It is as far back on the South Hill as you can get before you start dropping off and going down what we call the Palouse. And although that looks pretty far back, it's really not that far of a drive to maybe downtown Spokane. If you were looking for, like, let's just pick Moran Prairie and then directions to Sacred Heart Hospital, because I know there's a lot of medical people watching this channel, that's still only a 13-minute drive down there. And so it's really not that far of a drive to get to downtown Spokane or anywhere in between. It's also really conveniently located to get anywhere in terms of jumping onto getting down to I-90. You can just take Ray and then jump on the on-ramp on Ray, or if you needed to go south or head out to the airport, you could easily jump on 195 heading down Hatch Road, jump on the freeway there, and then you could head downtown or out to the airport or Seattle, anything like that. So quick, easy access to freeways going north, south, or east and west. And then overall, this neighborhood, I would say, is very quiet. Like, the reason I'm actually making this video is because of somebody that reached out to me from this YouTube channel, asking about, is looking to move here to Spokane, and they asked me, like, Hayden, what's Moran Prairie all about? It looks really interesting. I like the houses I see in that area. And I said, I will make a video for you. So if you have a neighborhood that you're curious about, please let me know. I will make a video just like this. We'll fly the drone, we'll get some footage of the area so you can get a feel for it as best as possible. But what I really like about it is that it's really a quiet area. There is, we'll talk about the streets a little bit here and there, but there's really only a few major intersections throughout the area. And then otherwise, once you're in the neighborhood, it is super quiet, very peaceful, cul-de-sac, like dead-end streets, and then a great mix of a suburban and rural feel. As you can see from like the B-roll that I've shot out there, there's super dense trees all throughout. The Tower Mountain or Browns Mountain, they kind of have two different names, same kind of hill though, is kind of right there in Moran Prairie. Like, it's really cool. Like, you can see the snow on top of it when there's not a lot of snow on the ground. And then if you're actually over by Moran Prairie Elementary School, you can actually, on a clear day when I was shooting this video, you can see Mount Spokane out in the distance on a clear day just driving down 57th. So really kind of great rustic vibe in the area. So overall, just a great kind of suburban feel that doesn't feel like too cookie cutter. Like, all houses are relatively, I would say, unique. There are some new construction communities, but most of the new construction is a little bit higher end. A lot of the other more suburban areas were built maybe in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and so the houses have just a little bit more unique character to them. So speaking of home prices in the area, I'm not going to hide any information, good resources for you guys. Like, I always say you can use my website, haydenhalsted.com, look at houses, but there are some awesome websites out there that I don't have the money to build. And so homes.com is a great resource. You can look up neighborhoods in the Spokane area and we'll give you a great rundown of that market. And so the average price in the Moran Prairie neighborhood is about $577,000. So definitely more on the upper end of Spokane for an average just neighborhood. There's about 29 homes for sale. And so the average homes are going to be listed anywhere from like 500 to 700,000, but they can range, especially on the luxury end, from 900 to 3 million. There's a piece of land for sale close to the golf course that's listed for $1.5 million right now for a quarter or for 0.4 acres. So obviously there's some areas in pockets in here that are super valuable. There's a $3.2 million piece of land, 23 acres. That's probably development land. But then another home that's listed in this gated community here in Quail Ridge, that's 1.8 million. So there's quite a range. And then again, over here, there's some new construction at just over $1 million as well. But you can get into the neighborhood for around 500,000 if you're looking for just a 4-bed, 3-bath house. So great mix. I would say the lower end of this neighborhood is the high 400s into the low 500s. And there's kind of just a great mix of some quirky like 1970s kind of mid-century modern houses in the area, just like this one. So you'll find a lot of updated homes throughout that area, lots of 70s houses, things like that. Or I would say even really popular, this type of floor plan here, more of like a, let's guess this, 1999, 90s built, where you kind of walk into the front of the house. There's going to be a set of stairs towards the front that will bring you upstairs. There's probably a basement in this house. And so kind of a split. It's not like a California split where the stairs are like right at the front door, but it's still a split level home where there's like probably like a 3-level home really, where there's a upper level, a kitchen and a living room on the main floor, and then there's a basement where there's a rec room and a couple more bedrooms. Really popular layout in that neighborhood as well. So I would just say, a mix of split levels and ranchers in this area for the most part is what I would see most popular, and ranchers that are either brand new, like this one, going for almost $1 million, or kind of a 1970s style rancher as well. All right, now touching on schools for the Moran Prairie neighborhood, it is actually very diverse in the amount of school options there are because of how large this area is. And one thing I didn't even touch on was really just showing you what the Moran Prairie area looks like. So this is an outline. This black section here is Moran Prairie, and it's not technically an actual neighborhood. Like the city of Spokane doesn't actually see Moran Prairie as an actual neighborhood. I accidentally moved that, but the green shadow right below it is called Southgate. As a Spokaneite, never heard of Southgate before until I started doing this business and looking these things up. So it's not something we refer to. So we would refer to this area as Moran Prairie, and then right below it as Lincoln Heights, kind of past on the other side of 37th. So don't know where Southgate came from. Moran Prairie is what we definitely use. And if this map here, just so you guys know, is something that my team made where we're calling it the most detailed map of Spokane. We're still working on it, but it basically shows you every single neighborhood from the city of Spokane, Spokane Valley, out into the county. And so it's really a combination of all of the information that you can find across the web, but not in one place. And then we have all of the new construction communities that we know of, private schools, 55 plus communities, all of the elementary, middle school, and high schools. And so we're going to keep building on this. We're going to show school boundaries eventually. Right now, they're just little points on the map, but that's where we can use the school boundary. But anyway, you can find that under the resources tab on our website, haydenhalsted.com, and then the resources tab at the very top. Just look for our maps section, and it'll be in there. You can download it. So anyway, we're looking at the high schools. You have two options in the Moran Prairie neighborhood. So on the right side, on the east side of Moran Prairie, you're going to be looking at going to Ferris High School, which is here on 37th. And now the funny thing is they've kind of changed the boundaries, and so the other half of the Moran Prairie neighborhood is actually going to be driving all the way down to LC, which is downtown. And so that's about a 15-minute drive. But some kids are going to be basically driving past Ferris in order to get to LC, which I think is very interesting. But just how the new layout worked for trying to make the school boundaries a little bit more equitable for the high schools. Now, middle school options getting even more dense now that we have a third middle school up on the South Hill. So there's a brand new middle school called Peppersack Middle School. I flew the drone over it, you can see it. And so it used to be a dog park actually, and they moved to the dog park. And so you can still see that it says South Hill Dog Park here. They moved it up this way, and they built the middle school on there. And then what we have now is actually the South Hill is really crushing it in terms of middle schools, because Chase Middle School is, I don't know where it's at in renovation, but it's not that old of a school. If they are remodeling or doing an addition. But then Sacagawea, where I went to middle school, they tore down the building that I went to and built a brand new school. And so the new school's been there for less than 2 years as well. So if you're looking to live in this Moran Prairie neighborhood or anywhere on the South Hill, kids going to middle school are basically going to get a brand new school, which is really cool. So most kids are going to go to either Peppersack or Chase. There's a small little corner here that is technically the Moran Prairie neighborhood that would go to Sacagawea. But most kids are going to be on that kind of lower South Hill going to Sacagawea. And then in regards to elementary schools, I have 4 options for that. So whether you're going to Moran Road Elementary, which is right next door to Peppersack. You have Moran Prairie, which is kind of just down the road from Chase, not too far. And then Adams, right across the street from Ferris High School, or Hamblin Elementary, which is kind of just down in the middle here. Obviously, the boundaries for Moran Road and Moran Road and Moran Prairie are huge because they're less dense areas. Down where Adams and Hamblin are much more dense areas, and so that's something to just think about as you're considering where you'd want to be looking at houses and stuff. But for the most part, all really highly rated schools. I mean, you're going to be hard pressed to find like much better options. They all have good things about them. And then just looking at some private school options in the area. There is All Saints, which is just outside the Moran Road area. That's just kind of south of 37th. And then Southside Christian's not too far down, more in the Comstock neighborhood. Okay, let's talk about shopping and amenities, because I would say that's kind of one of the big things about the Moran Prairie neighborhood is that there's a lot of things in that vicinity. And so your day-to-day stuff is like you can drive less than 5 minutes to basically most things that you would absolutely need. And then of course, if you want to go outside of that area, you can, but you don't have to. So looking at the map again, looking at that Moran Prairie neighborhood, like I was saying, there's only really one major intersection. So Regal is the main north-south road through the Moran Road area, and then 57th is the main east-west road through here. And this intersection here is kind of the bigger main intersection. And then there's kind of a secondary one over here with another kind of area of strip malls and things like that. But there's everything from multiple grocery store options like Safeway, multiple restaurants, pools, South Hill Grill. There's a gym, Move Fitness. You have Target, which is everybody loves a good old Target. Mod Pizza. There's a Multi-Care, handful of other restaurants in here. The soccer fields, the Southeast Sports Complex is right here. So if you have kids that play soccer, this is where they will likely be playing. And so handful of fast food options. Goes down Regal into the Lincoln Heights neighborhood, and then you have Trader Joe's down there as well. So really just tons and tons of options for that. A couple coffee shops, Revel 77, all that kind of stuff. So between this kind of like 57th area, like all of the shopping here, and then being only like 5 minutes away from the Lincoln Heights shopping center in the next neighborhood over, you really are going to be totally covered. You even have a really nice restaurant option. Luna right here is really one of the higher rated restaurants. Got a nice dinner, $50 to $100 is what you're expected to spend. It's a really amazing restaurant. I've been there a few times, so would definitely recommend that. So definitely not a lack of things to do. And if we're talking about like things to do in terms of parks and activities, there's also a handful of great options for that as well. We talked about this dog park. Obviously, they've moved it over here. There's the Southside Aquatic Center. So in the summertime, there is a pool that has like a lazy river that's really cool, and they have a big park attached to it. There is access to the bluff on one side of 57th, so you can park your car right in here, and then you have access to the miles and miles of hiking trails along the bluff right here. So if you were a trail runner or biker, you have easy access to that. Obviously, you can go hang out at the soccer complex when there's not things going on there, and then all the schools just in the area make for great access to just run around and things like that. And then the last cool thing that's in close close proximity is just up the road is the Glen Rose Trailhead. You could be hiking across the Dishman Hills, all the way across to this trailhead in the Spokane Valley over here. So literally just a few minutes away from a lot of great options. And if you've got the funds for it, there is an amazing golf course here, private golf course, the Manitou Country Club. I don't know the price of the membership or anything, but I know it's spendy. But you could also just drop off the hill and hit one of Spokane's amazing public golf courses, Qualshin, and it would be a lot cheaper for you. So for those thinking about Moran Prairie, or I mean, I guess who would it be good for? I mean, for fair housing laws, I'm not really going to say much because it could be good for anybody, but it is really good just for people that are, if you're looking for a larger home that needs some work from home space or anything like that, we could probably find you something there. About 20% of people that live in this neighborhood, based off homes.com's data, are over the age of 65. So it's become popular for retirees as well. Super quiet neighborhood, tons of schools. So obviously there are families living there because of how many schools are in that area. So and just because it feels so safe and suburban in that area. So good mix of people living in this place. It's rated low on crime scores, all that stuff. So I just think overall it has a great feel. I've made other videos on like the Indian Trail neighborhood, and I've been saying that it feels like similar to Indian Trail, where there's only a couple ways in and out of there. There's really no reason to go to that area unless you live there. So it's just a great all-around option. So if you found this video helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and if you think this neighborhood or any other in Spokane could be for you, use the link down below in the description to reach out to me and my team. We'd love to help you out. And if you're more of an analytical, or you're just interested in the housing market more in depth here in Spokane, you can watch this video right here. It's a breakdown of my thoughts for the 2025 housing market. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.